Well,
or that was the foxhole one.
That was the foxhole one.
All right, welcome to Amateur Radio Roundtable. I'm Tom, W5KUB. If you're listening out there on shortwave, on international shortwave, on WBCQ, on 7490, this program is about ham radio, or amateur radio, and we hope you'll stick around if you're interested, and we'll have some fun tonight. We've got a variety of different things we're going to be talking about tonight. If you'd like to join us during our live show, you can join us on Tuesday night. You're actually listening to this on Thursday on shortwave, but our show is on Tuesday nights at 9 p.m. Eastern Time, and you can just find us by going to YouTube and searching for W5KUB. And you will find us there. And I've got echo again, so let me turn the echo off. I don't know why I forget to do that. I'll fix that. All right. Thank you, Mike. All right. So you can join us on Tuesday nights if you want to watch the show live. Or if you don't have internet or you can't make it Tuesday nights, all of our shows are recorded. We have about 680 to 700 shows that are recorded on our YouTube channel. Let me ask everybody right now, I got to ask this every week. I need everybody right now, listen, pay attention, everybody. I need you to hit the subscribe button. There's some of you guys out there. My statistics here tell me about 40% of you guys are not subscribed, so I'm going to start hunting you down. So I want everybody to hit the subscribe button. That'll help us a whole lot. That helps Facebook to advertise our show. It puts that little thumbnail out there beside other people's videos, and it actually brings a lot of people over to our show on Tuesday night. So please hit the subscribe button, hit the like button if you like the show. Likes help increase our ratings. Boy, I can't say it tonight. Our ratings. So do that. And let's see, the net tonight, Jim, AB5JM, Jim, call the net tonight. I've been tied up with insurance claims and all kinds of things. So Jim called the net tonight. I had a minute where I ran back here, I turned the radio on. There was so much static and the band was so bad. But I did hear one person check in with Jim. And that was our friend Jim near Fort Smith, Arkansas. He checked in, and I checked in. So I checked into the net tonight. Jim had 2 check-ins tonight, but that's okay. So let's, hey, real quick, let's go around the room here and say hello to everybody. If I can figure out what room they're in. There we go. Hey, looks like Alan's up first. How you doing tonight, Alan?
Doing okay. So surviving. Had a change, about 20-degree change in the weather between yesterday and today. So breezy and barely got above freezing today, but it's supposed to get back up into the 50s tomorrow. So who knows? So anyway, good to see everybody. And the snow is melting up here. You can see the grass again for the first time in a month. So, and I've got a little bit of an interesting thing for Tektips tonight. We're going to talk about DBs. So that's what's going on here in Jersey.
And you know what? I'd like for you at some point to talk about DBMs.
Well, we're going to do that too.
Put an M on there, man.
Put an M and a U and a C and a I and a D and all the kind of things.
We won't go too hog wild tonight. I just need the M and the regular, you know.
But you'll get them tonight.
Yeah. Okay. Very good. Great, man. Let's see. We've got Glenn. How you doing, Glenn?
Oh, hanging in there. You know, our snow finally melted. Now it's time to mow the lawn. It's already turned green.
Yeah.
And,
Well, tell you what, that ice and snow came in here, and was here about, I don't know, a week or so. 0 degrees, 1 degree, and the next day it was 70, and it didn't take that long, man. I mean, it was gone in just a couple hours.
no, and then Sunday, it was so hot and humid, you could just tell that it was tornado and thunderstorm weather, and we had that roll through Sunday night.
Uh-huh.
And but so I mean, I've got this little toy all ready to go, and haven't had a chance to play with it because I'm not about to hook this thing to an antenna with thunderstorms around. This is the new Micro BidX with the larger display.
Yeah, but that thing is so inexpensive. If you got wiped out with lightning, you could just get you another one, man. I mean,
yeah, but this one belongs to ARRL, so
okay.
You know,
Yeah.
can't go spending their money.
Yeah, okay. All right, man. Well, hey, Glenn, thanks, man. Let's see. Hey, let's see. I kind of see who else we got there. We got Mark in here. Hey, Mark, welcome, man, and glad you're with us tonight. Sorry about the trouble hooking up here.
Well, we got in, Tom. Thanks, and good to be here.
Yeah. Boy, I tell you, I'm excited about hearing your piece here in just a couple minutes. That's one of the friendliest and best Hamfest. I haven't said it enough, man. I can't wait. We're ready for one, aren't we, Glenn? After a couple years of no Hamfest.
Man, I miss Huntsville. You know, that's always been one of my favorites.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I got lucky. I got me a room at the Embassy Suites. It's probably the last one, but I did get a room.
Well, we always stay there, man. You can't get anything better, man. You know, you can't get anything better. Well, look, let's just jump right into this here, and let's talk with Mark again. And Mark, thanks for coming in here, and tell us what's going on there. And we're excited, man. Just come on in, Mark.
Well, yeah, Tom, everybody's excited. You know, we knew that there was a pent-up demand for in-person events throughout the fall and the winter. I've talked occasionally with the organizers of other Hamfest events, John and Michael down in Orlando, Rick and Michael and Jack Gerbs up in Dayton, and you know, it's really unfortunate that, sad actually, that they and other Hamfests have had to cancel throughout the year. And, you know, of course, Dayton had to cancel twice. But we're at a time we think that, you know, we can do this. The Huntsville Hamfest, normally we start meeting sometime around October, November, following the August event. But we waited until after the new year. And we got together by Zoom. We're still meeting by Zoom. But to talk about, you know, where we were headed, could we host the Huntsville Hamfest in 2021? And out of that meeting, we had more questions than we had answers. So in parallel, we set up a meeting with the Von Braun Center for a face-to-face to talk about the current mandates and how we might be able to host something safely. And in parallel with that, we checked with the vendors to see what is their sentiment. Basically, if we build it, will they come? And the responses back from the commercial vendors and the flea market vendors, it was not just yes, it was hell yes. Now, naturally, we had a few negatives, but our commercial chair, he compiled the responses, and he said it was running clearly around 90% positive. So, you know, while we may miss a few, the majority of the vendors want to come back, want to see a face-to-face event. And the same with the flea market. And I got to tell you, you know, our flea market is really good. It's 380 some tables, and the fact that people have been buying radios off the shelf for a year and a half, I can't imagine what the flea market area is going to look like come August this year. There's going to be a lot of hardware, so that's exciting. You know, we do a bunch of forums. But I'm getting ahead of myself. So what we did was back in mid-February, we got the responses back, and we had the meeting with the VBC. And, you know, they had a lot of requirements on us last year, one-way aisles and a lot of things. It just it could not have worked. The capacity restrictions on the room, we still have that to some degree, but not anything like last year. So we're looking good. We just a couple of days ago, Friday actually, sent our layout to the VBC, the Von Braun Center, to let them review it and make sure that we understand the correct. Our understanding of their rules and the state mandates is in line, and we'll be rolling that out shortly. We're a little bit late. We're 6 months out, but we're just a little bit behind where we were in 2019 as far as opening up the portals for visitor registration, vendor registration, and flea market tables. So we're going to get there. We're a little bit late, like I said, but we're excited. And the thing that's going to make it work for us this year, if you've been to Huntsville before, we use 80,000 square feet of air-conditioned space inside the South Hall. That 80,000 square feet of air-conditioned space is big enough for 50-some vendors and about 380 flea market tables, a stage, a lot of stuff going on in that room. But with the distancing requirements, the Von Braun Center is working with us. They're going to give us this year some additional, about 60,000 square feet of additional space in that South Hall. So it will still all be in one big room. Mm-hmm. We'll just be spread out. And that's the enabler, really. And that's going to allow us to space the aisles out in the commercial area and the flea market to make this a safe Hamfest for everyone. And of course, we'll have the hand sanitizer stations, the signage, and the distancing out in the hallway. We're going to promote this year. Will call. We're going to encourage folks so that we don't have to handle, so the ladies don't have to handle cash. We're going to really promote buying your tickets online, and then we'll do a will call. Just basically walk up, give your name and/or call sign, and be handed your tickets and your button. So we're looking at trying to keep everyone safe, minimize the personal handling of money and things like that. So we're doing a lot of little things, and oh my gosh, it's keeping us busy, but we think it's going to work really well.
So with the extra space they're giving you, are there going to be any additional limits, like you got to hold it down to 3,000 people or 5,000 or anything like that, or is it going to be pretty open?
It's going to be pretty open. We've looked at our figures, our crowd sizes and stuff. Over the weekend, we get about around 5,000, 4,800. And we think that on Saturday, it will be a good crowd, but it will be spread out. And we think that we can manage the fire marshal capacity limits no problem.
Okay, and here's, I've got a couple. I've just got your website up here. I mean, there's kind of a shot of inside. Let me tell you, this is first class, and with all you've got the inside, you've got the flea market and the new guys all under a roof here, air conditioned. It is something, man. I was just looking. You guys got a brand new site from last year. This thing is outstanding of all the stuff you got in here. And I tell you, I was really impressed. If you go down on your site here. Look at there. You go down to your site, you got some great people there that are attending. Look at there, man.
Yeah, we got some really high caliber media folks coming.
Yeah.
And then they got Tom.
All right. But and I don't, let's see, let me go to about here. It may be, you might want to mention.
That league picture you scrolled past was taken this past Saturday over at the Dalton Hamfest. That's Mickey Baker, our Southeastern Division Director, along with the Georgia section manager and assistant section manager, and they'll all be here for Huntsville. They're very excited about it. Somebody was mentioning the spring thaw. I was in stopped traffic getting over there to Chattanooga, and I saw some green on some scrub growth along the interstate highway. Yeah. And we're close to spring, guys. I'm excited for that too.
I'm getting some green grass popping out down here. Yeah.
Yeah, I missed going to Dalton this year, but hopefully next.
Yeah, I had dinner with Mike and John from Orlando and Scott and Jill from Tower Electronics, and like I say, we're all excited. these in-person events. I can say this, that the vendors that did go to Dalton, it appeared to me that they did very well.
I might add that one nice thing about the Huntsville Hamfest is if you stay at the Embassy Suites right next door, you basically walk out of your room, go across the ramp, and you're in the arena right at the Hamfest. So,
Bill. But Bill, when you say ramp, see, in my job for 30 years, ramp is like walking across the airport ramp outside, and tugs almost hitting you. This place, the ramp you're talking about, is air conditioned. It's like a above the street tunnel that goes over there. You know, I mean, it is so cool.
Yeah,
somebody
nice.
mentioned the Embassy Suites a little while ago. Maybe it was Glenn getting the last room. Guys, be persistent. There's a quirk in the reservation link. We don't know, and the embassy's not sure why, but the rooms are available, and so be persistent. We've got probably 2/3 of that hotel under the reservation code. So, like I say, be persistent. Those rooms are still available.
Yeah, and one nice thing, you know, for me doing a forum there, the forum rooms are over on the Embassy Suite side, so that's really nice and handy.
Yeah, we're still working out those details, Glenn. Our priority right now is to get the layout out there, get the ticket sales opened up, and then the secondary things, the stage and the forum rooms, the spacing and everything like that. We're working those issues. I can't tell you today exactly where the forums will be, but we're going to clearly need some more space for popular guys like you and Bob Heil and Joe Eisenberg. You know, the guys that will really fill a room.
Yeah. Well, you know, maybe we can just take the whole back half of the show hall.
We'll see. Well,
I tell you,
it would be a little loud.
Yeah, it would.
we can't say enough about this Hamfest. I mean, Kathy and I, we go down 2 days early now, Mark, just because we like it so much.
Awesome.
And you know, I like just hey, Thursday when you guys are even building the cubes up, I like just being down there and seeing you guys and maybe talking to you and chatting with you. It's I can't say how great it is, man. It is.
Yeah, I like going over, leaving early in the morning and hitting the Space and Rocket Center on the way in. Spending an afternoon there.
That's something to do, the Space and Rocket Center, if you haven't.
Oh, that's always fun.
Mm-hmm. I think we did that last year. You know, that reminds I am still trying to get astronaut Doug Wheelock to be with us in Huntsville. He's gone to Dayton. They're with us for 8 years straight now. And, of course, we've been locked out now for 2 years at Dayton. So I've been talking to him, and I want to get Doug down to Huntsville. And, you know, Space Center, Doug has even work he could do there at the Space Center. And Doug also trained as an Apache helicopter pilot there at Redstone. So he's got a lot of ties to the area. So we'll see if we can get him down there.
Oh, that'd be fun.
It would be fun.
Yeah. So
anyway, sorry to interrupt you, Mark. Keep going.
Yeah.
Oh, that's quite okay.
So Mark, I've got some pictures. Hey, Mark.
Full service Hamfest. We got everything going on. We got the youth lounge. Dr. Monty Bateman, one of our NASA solar lightning physicists, has been doing the youth forum for over a dozen years, and it just continues to get more and more popular. We'll be doing exams both days, and it seems to be true across the country. I was talking with the Dalton guys on Monday. They had a tremendous increase. Everybody across the board is seeing an increase in the number of people taking exams due to the COVID distancing and staying at home and everything. People are getting into radio in a big way. And so we do exams Saturday and Sunday. We may have to expand and do an afternoon session. We're not sure yet. But we're moving the exam area to make more space in the hallway for the incoming people to keep their distance. Normally we have a curtained off area, but we want to streamline that and move the exam folks off so that they're kind of out of the way. And it'll be a quieter place for test taking. So a lot of little things like that. Like I say, a lot of details to work through this year. We're still going to be the friendliest Hamfest. It'll just be a little bit different.
Well, Oh man, I can't say enough. I'm sorry, I keep saying it, but oh gee, hey, you want to talk about any of these? Are all these, most of these guys still part of your team here?
Well, there we are. Yes. Our webmaster there is Jonathan on the left. Ralph Blinn is our move-in coordinator. The third guy from the left, geez, I'm drawing a blank. Dave, no, I can't remember. He's our MC.
Yeah,
he's the
MC.
guy that announces the prizes.
Yeah.
Center guy, Art Davis. He's been our commercial chair for since the days of Spark, I think.
Yeah.
And then behind him is Joe Henderson, our move-in coordinator and volunteer exam coordinator for KVIC. He sponsors not just Huntsville tests, but throughout the North Alabama, Southern Middle Tennessee area.
Mm-hmm.
To the right there is Dave Givens, our Huntsville Hamfest president. Dave took over for Charlie Emerson, who passed away suddenly for a year, and then they asked me to join as general chairman, and that's me on the right.
All right, man. All right. Well, good-looking crew there, and you all have green shirts. Great.
I'm wearing the right color tonight.
That's right. You are. You really are. I was trying to see. But you got a lot of information on your website, a lot here, and it's. I think you're going to have. Do you think? Well, what do you think about attendance? Do you think you're going to have any extra room for somebody to get a table if they haven't done it before? Or you think you're going to be at capacity, or is there any feel for it?
Well, based on the pent-up demand, and our survey responses will be about the same.
Okay.
We're rolling the dice this year. We typically operate, our goal is to break even, because what we earn in excess of what it costs us, we give back to the local community, we give back to the volunteers, we fund next year's door prizes, and so we're not in this to make money, clearly not. And in my opinion, and I think the board's opinion, if we take a small loss this year, we'll consider that a big win. It's just something we feel like we need to do. To not do a Hamfest for 2 years straight is not something anybody wants.
That's great.
So we're excited.
Does Doug Childs ring a bell?
Doug Childs, exactly. Thank you. Yes,
yeah.
He's going to give me grief for forgetting his name here.
Right.
Thank you for dredging that up.
Sometimes I forget my name, man. Oh man. I'm really excited about this. I can't wait for it to get here. The COVID thing is starting to kind of taper off. I'm getting my second COVID shot tomorrow. A lot of people are starting to get it, and I think
that's what we think, Tom. The positives, the pent-up demand, the fact that by August there are so many people will have the vaccine, mm-hmm. and folks will want to get out. And okay, those are the positives. The negatives, well, out of caution or fear, some people will choose not to attend. I tend to think that the positives and the negatives will sort of balance out, and so I'm hopeful that we have a good, safe, and successful Hamfest.
Yeah, something to add here is in Mississippi, they just relaxed the mask mandates and meeting mandates to 50% capacity now. And I know they're doing that over in Texas next week.
Hey, Texas today, they turned everything back to normal, everything.
Yeah, but that starts on the 10th, I believe.
Oh, does it? Okay, yeah.
Yeah, but here in Mississippi, it's immediate now that 50% capacity for meetings and stuff, and the mask mandate has been rescinded. And I got my second shot on Monday. And aside from looking old, no side effects.
All right. Well, that's good. Glad you're still with us. Glad you're still
that's
kicking.
What we're doing. We're designing the Hamfest to to the current Alabama state and local mandates. Mm-hmm. Naturally, that's just something we have to do. But we can remain hopeful, keep our fingers crossed that the distancing guidelines and things are relaxed a little bit more. I saw evidence of a lot of mask usage over at Dothan. I saw folks talking with each other in conversations. Maybe they weren't exactly 6 feet apart, but they weren't as close as normal. So people were practicing social distancing. People were exercising common sense. There wasn't much in the way of handshaking, a little fist bump or elbow bump. But like I said, it was an amateur radio event, and in my opinion, Dothan went off really well this past weekend.
Here's
Excellent.
another good picture.
Got a question in the chat room here, Mark. When will the tickets be available?
We're working on that. Like I said, we want to turn on the vendor and dealer registration and ticket sales all at the same time. It's just easier and for the PayPal systems and make sure everything's working okay. I want to do it like right now, but my guys are volunteers and they're working as a couple of them. Many of us still work full-time jobs, and we're doing the best we can. I hope within a week from today, March 3rd.
All right, hey, Mark, I'm bringing up on your website your dealers. You got a lot of dealers, a lot of the big guys, a lot of the
2019 list. We had, of course, we had Yaesu, ICOM, Kenwood, Flex, Elecraft, N3ZN. I was on another program with those guys, and they're excited to come.
R&L, MCG, it's just everybody's coming. Looks like.
Yeah, I'm going to have to get me a table or two because I have a whole bedroom stacked full of stuff that needs to go to Hamfest so I can buy new stuff. I've got at least 3 HF rigs, including a Yaesu FT950, couple rigs like that.
I had a Yaesu FT950 as my first HF radio about a dozen years ago. I
love
really
it.
liked that radio.
Got me a 991A the other matter of fact, I got it at Huntsville, the last Huntsville Hamfest, actually, I believe.
Hey, Mark, my first,
go ahead, Bill.
My first HF radio was a Hallicrafters SX101A.
That's why you got those big muscles today. Those radios
I think
heavy.
that's started my back problems.
Yeah, that's a receiver, though, isn't it? Or is that the
That
transmitter?
was the receiver, and I had to lug that 60-pound receiver all the way from the flea market at Dayton all the way up the hill to the parking lot.
Lord.
Wow.
Of course, I was 16 at the time, but that still hurt.
Yes.
Then the Viking 2 also weighed about 50 pounds, so I had to carry that too.
Yeah.
I remember, I got my ham license. I got back into the hobby about a dozen years ago. And then it was maybe about 10 years ago, I decided to put up a tower. And at the Dayton Hamvention in the flea market, I found a 200-foot spool of 4-gauge copper. And I bought it. And it stretched my arm. And I carried it in the long arm.
That'd be heavy, man. That's heavy.
That's heavy wire, yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, hey, Mark, your website is hamfest.org. Everybody go to hamfest.org and find out all you can about the Huntsville Hamfest. And I to me, it's one of the greatest ones. I think you guys are kind of classified as maybe the 3rd largest in the U.S. now.
That's clear. That's the ARRL, and they go to a lot more Hamfest than I do. And the league has told us that we're clearly a good, strong number 3. We're not competing. We don't want to get larger than Orlando or Dayton, and we're not competing with other events. I remember a visitor at one of our booths at I can't remember Hamcation or Dayton, but he said we're right sized. We have the right number of vendors. We have the right number of flea markets. You can do it in 2 days. And it's not the mega event that other shows are, but they all have their place, and we're happy with what we are, and we want to keep it good for the visitors and the vendors.
And one of the things that I've noticed, it's a real family Hamfest. Families come to it. The husband, the wife, the kids, even the little toddlers. I mean, they all come to this thing.
Yeah, we do try to limit the number of non-amateur radio related vendors. Wild Sage Jewelry, the guy has been coming to Huntsville Hamfest. He's a commercial vendor. He picks up his really nice sterling silver jewelry out in the Arizona area, handmade, really high quality stuff. And then in the flea market area, we have other mom and pop type vendors. So there is something for the ladies to see around the Hamfest. Tupperware. Guys use Tupperware to house outdoor electronics.
Yeah.
And at the same time, the ladies, of course, no ladies has enough Tupperware.
Well,
So,
I
we have
wasn't
that.
really referring to the non-ham sales because you guys don't have much of that there, to tell you the truth. But I would just make a comment that it just seems it's the friendliest Hamfest, and it seems like it's more of a family event than some of these other Hamfests. But you go to it, it's all guys, my age or younger,
And I agree with the right sized.
Yeah.
It does feel right sized.
Thanks, Glenn.
That is one large facility, and for people that don't know about it, when we drive in there with our truck, we drive to the door. We drive inside the building, and there probably be 50 trucks in there. I'm talking big box trucks and everything, not pickups. But that place is so big, you actually drive into where your table is, you unload, you set up, and then you take your vehicle back out and park it, and then you don't even have to touch it for 3 days or a couple days. So it is so nice, air conditioned, clean, everything is just tip top, first class, as we mentioned.
Very well organized.
Yeah.
Just setting up the vendors the night before to breaking things down, and it's all well. The volunteers do a fantastic job of organizing, I have to say. It'll be incredible with that extra space. That ought to be really awesome to have that extra space too.
I think it will, Bill. We get about 100 local and regional volunteers to help us with the event the entire weekend. That includes the Friday morning and afternoon move-in, and then those same volunteers help us throughout the event, making sure everybody is happy, and anything they might need, they can. If they can't supply it, they can refer them to somebody like me in a green shirt, and we try to help everybody out.
All right, hamfest.org. It's coming in August.
Hey, thanks for letting me on here, Tom.
August 21st and 22nd. Let's do it again, Mark, before August.
Absolutely. In a couple of months, when we have a little firmer grasp on how things are looking, let's get back together on here, and we'll give everybody an update. Thanks again, Tom, for having me.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Mark.
All right, guys.
See you guys.
Let's see. We need to. Hey, we're going to give away an HF antenna in just a few minutes. Don't start hitting enter right now. It's probably going to be 4 or 5 minutes, but we're going to give away one in just a minute. So everybody just stand by. We'll be right back with you, and we'll get to the next part of the show here. And we'll probably right after this, we will do an antenna here in just a minute. Love is on the air at ICOM. The sweetheart of a package with the IC705 is a perfect sidekick for hams that like to enjoy what the great outdoors and indoors have to offer. It's a perfect QRP companion. Base station features and functionality at the tip of your fingers in a portable package covering HF 6 meters, 2 meters, and 70 centimeters. This compact rig weighs in at just over 2 pounds with RF direct sampling for most of the HF bands and IF sampling for frequencies above 25 megahertz. Some of the features include a 4.3-inch touchscreen with live band scope and waterfall, 5 watts with the BP272 and 10 watts with 13.8 volts. Single sideband CW, AM, FM, as well as full D-Star functionality. Touchscreen display. Integrated GPS with antenna and GPS logger. The speaker microphone comes standard, and it supports QRP, QRPP operations. The perfect accessory for the IC705 is the now available optional backpack, the LC192. It's got a special compartment for the IC705 and room for all your accessories in a day in a park. It's got a lot of accessories, such as the QRP portable magnetic antenna, standard battery pack, lithium-ion battery pack, compact lapel, PTT, Bluetooth and earphone, and much more. And the AH705 antenna tuner is coming soon. Check out our website for free software. Visit www.icomamerica.com/amateur for more information on ICOM radios.
QRO, fixed stations, portable and remote, an LDG tuner will match your radio to your antenna using our lightning-fast, proprietary tuning algorithms. LDG is a family-owned and operated company dedicated to bringing innovative, quality products to the amateur market. All LDG products carry a full 2-year warranty that is fully transferable. Support is only a phone call or email away. We're always here to help you. Visit us on the web at ldgelectronics.com.
All right, and we are back. Hey, you know, our friend Dwayne Kincaid at LDG has been giving away antennas like crazy. We've been giving away one every week for the last 8 weeks. Let's give away another antenna tonight. Let me show you what we're dealing with here. Tonight we're gonna give to some lucky viewer the 40-meter dipole, the LDG-40MD-K. Now that's a kit. Everything you need to build that antenna includes your all the number 14 7-strand wire, the center conductor, the insulators, the LDG balun. So everything you need to put together. Now, you've got to have a U.S. address. We're not shipping this out of the country because that $60 will turn into $160 if we had to ship it to Canada. So if you've got an address or something, or somebody in the U.S. can ship it for you, then yeah, if you can provide a U.S. address, we'll ship it to that U.S. address. But it's kind of limited to U.S. addresses. So we're going to do that 40-meter dipole. We've already given away the G5 LRV. We've given away a couple G5 RVs, a couple off-center feds, a couple long wires, and we're doing the two 40-meter dipoles. So let's see if Hambot's out here. And what I need everybody to do, the YouTube chat room only shows like just a few participants. If you haven't been typing, we don't know you're in the chat room. So everybody hit a period or an enter or say hello and hit enter. Everybody needs to hit something in the chat room, and that will get your name back in the participants list, where we're going to pick a name out of that participants list. And so you need to get your name in that list there. And it looks like people are doing it. A lot of people are doing it. All right. So we're going to bring Hambot out of retirement. He's semi-retired. So here's Hambot. All right. So Hambot used to do a lot of work for us, but since we've gone over to the YouTube chat room, he can't do as much as he used to do. So we're back to a lot of manual processing here. We've still got people hitting enter here. In fact, I think I see a couple people that have already hit enter. You only need to do it one time. It's not gonna, if you just hit it one time, and it lasts for about 10 minutes, believe me. All right, let's see how Hambot's doing here.
Someone just needs to slide him a case of WD-40.
I wonder where that was coming from. That wasn't here, I don't think, because I had my mics muted. All right. Hambot, where are you, Hambot? Are you ready, Hambot? Hambot's ready. Hambot says don't mess with him. Hambot says don't mess with me. Okay, so Richard, is that the Richard DeSorias? DeRosiers? Is that the one? Is that the one Hambot picked? Richard DeSorias? Okay, Richard DeSorias has won the 40-meter dipole. Congratulations, Richard, for winning. Richard, send me an email to Tom at W5KUB and give us your call and your address so we can ship you this antenna. and you'll probably have a lot of fun with it there. Talk about boat anchors. Hey, Bill, since I've been up in the attic here lately, I found a lot of old stuff. Probably all of us remember these.
Oh, yes. Are
FT
any of those in the ham band?
Crystals.
Yeah, these are in the ham bands.
I used to rub
Yeah.
them down
Some of
to
those
change
HC6 or HC16 holders.
Yeah, and I've got a whole even a bunch of military ones. And back then we would use any crystal we could get that we could get on frequency. And like Bill's saying, you could actually open these things up, and you could actually take toothpaste and wear down the crystal in there and change the frequency, or you could put pencil lead on it and make change the frequency. But for instance, this one is on. Let's see. Different ones. This one right here, this frequency here is 7043. So guys,
Those.
and it's got a mysterious symbol at the end of it. It usually says KC.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That was before they invented hertz.
KCs. These are in guys. These can't be used anymore. These are in cycles. They're not in hertz anymore. So
Yeah,
guys,
they're out of date.
Hey, back then we didn't have nobody knew what a synthesizer was. That can dial in all the frequencies and stuff. So we want to make a contact. We look in our crystals, and usually as a novice we had maybe 1 or 2 or 3 crystals, and we would swap them with other. We'd just swap with novices to get a different frequency, but it didn't make any difference. So we'd get this crystal 7043 or whatever, and we'd plug it in the radio, and that's the frequency we would talk on. Now guess what? The guy answering you wasn't on 7043 because he had a 7072 crystal, and he's talking to us on 7072, and we're talking to him on 7043.
Exactly.
We know the carbon resistors age, just even sitting on the shelf. What about those crystals? Do they drift? Or, once they drift a certain amount, do they stop?
I don't know. I think it would probably be more external components wired to the crystal. Inductors.
Maybe more of a factor.
Inductors, capacitors, things like that makes the oscillator. I think the crystal's pretty solid. It's just all the other stuff kind of hooked to it, I think. What do you think, Alan?
Yeah, I think in general, the crystal itself, its resonant frequency is based on its physical properties, its physical dimensions and how it's cut, and that doesn't change. If the humidity changes, it might change, some of the resonant properties or something like that. But I think with aging, it's already a rock. It's not going to change to too much of a different rock.
So
right, we're talking parts per million, and the other components around it are way more variable.
And we would use the second or third harmonic of these crystals. Like for instance, this one is 7072, so it would actually work on 14.144, or it would work on 21.216. So it would work 3 bands, if you tuned up correctly. So.
Hey, Tom, set those aside and put them in a bag, because I have an HW16 that actually I need some handband crystals for.
Well, Richard N9 DPR kind of hit it right. He said they change from KC to kilohertz with age.
Oh,
that just changes the use-by date on them.
Oh, man. All right. Well, hey, but we had fun. We had fun. And even when my first transmitter was a Knight T150. It was a kit, and it was a 150-watt kit. It had a VFO. But as a novice, I couldn't use the VFO. Back then, we felt like the FCC was the law, and we religiously followed the law, with what we did. So I used crystal, and guess what? That 150-watt transmitter, I pulled it back to 75 watts.
There's the matching VFO.
There is my first. This is not the rig, but it's the first type that I had, the HW16.
Yep.
And when they allowed us to use VFOs, I got the HD10.
Now, I would imagine.
I borrowed one of those HT10s, and I got my first official observer report for Chirp.
I got some official
Yeah.
observer too. I would imagine though, even that VFO would drift because I don't remember just any real great VFOs back then. It was probably pretty stable. But,
Well, the HW16 was noted for chirp.
yeah, yeah.
You know,
Yeah, I got reports that people thought I was in Bulgaria because back then Bulgaria was notorious
Yeah.
for having
Yeah.
chirps, something to do with their power supply or the way they built their radios because everything was home built.
Yeah.
They must all use the same circuit, but they were notorious for having chirping CW. But that HW16 would definitely do it.
oh gosh, yeah.
Well, I
It was
think
less
several.
chirping with the HG10.
I think several of the crystal companies have gone out of business.
Most of them.
Yeah, this was PR. This one was U.S. Crystals. I'm not sure who this was.
God knows how many orders I made
Yeah.
with crystals for
I
2
never-
meter HPs.
I spent my entire allowance money on piles of crystals over the years
Yes.
when I was in high school.
Yeah, really, if you really think back, it didn't make a lot of difference if you had 1 crystals or 5 crystals for 40 meters. I mean, one frequency is as good as the others.
Actually, I had like 3 crystals for
Yeah.
15 meters, and one of them was 21.111 in the novice band, and that
Yeah.
crystal got 90% of all my contacts.
And I had a friend in a little town 13 miles away. He was a ham, and I mean, hey, we'd swap crystals for a week or 2 or a month. I'd use his crystals. I'd get a different frequency. But looking back now, I don't know why. I mean, it really wouldn't have made any difference. Nobody's
Well,
gonna,
like you say, we're generally tuning the whole
yeah,
novice band.
nobody's going to answer you on the same frequency anyway. Back then.
And then the more modern crystals, the little canned crystal oscillators that were in a lot of computer equipment about 20, 25 years ago, 28.322 was a very popular frequency for those. And so that's right in the 10 meter band. And I think I mentioned a couple shows ago about K7IRK, Bob Moody and I used to transmit back and forth during the sunspot peak. And that back then you could literally shout out the window and it would bounce off the 10 meter ionosphere and be heard thousands of miles away. You needed very little power to make, particularly right as the 10 meter band was about to close.
Here is it looks like a 28.12 something. It's in a heater.
Yeah. Well, anyways, Bob Moody, K7IRK, had a crystal, one of those little canned oscillators on 28.322, and a lantern battery and a Morse code hand key, and he worked all states over the period of a year, and that still had that battery life in the lantern battery.
Yeah.
Wow.
And but they put out about 50 milliwatts or so.
So you guys don't know, this is a heater. This crystal is actually in a heater. If you look real close, that's a wire, a coil of wire around that.
See, nowadays you can buy a little surface mount that does the exact same thing, a temperature controlled oscillator that is about the size of a pencil lead.
Yeah. Now here's it's hard to read in here. I need better light. Here's a crystal. You can actually see inside of it. Look at this. It's clear. I don't know if you can see.
Oh, cool.
It's glass, and you can actually see the insides. I don't know what
Now,
that is.
cool.
That's a 3617 crystal. And then, after World War II, there was always a lot of military. Hey, Jan made a lot of crystals. I think they took these military crystals and probably converted them, or cut them down or whatever. They're a lot. They're a little bit bigger than your normal crystals, but
Yeah,
So
I
what-
think that's the FT243 case.
yeah. So what you do, you just make you a little adapter. Make you a little adapter.
Actually,
Plug the big one in,
HW16
and then you plug this in, and hey, it fits.
Yep, the HW16 actually has both sizes on the front.
Yeah.
like I say, just set all those aside and I'll come over and
Well,
help you out
I've
with
got a
those.
bag of them here.
So the problem of having a USB standard there's so many different USB plugs now.
Yeah.
That all started back with the crystals in the 30s and 40s and 50s, right?
It must
don't know.
have, because I just got a new phone the other day and now I got to go buy all USB-C cables.
Did you say you just got a new phone?
Yes.
Look, man, you should have called me first because I had an extra phone I pulled out of the attic the other day. Look, here we go.
Oh, no. The one I traded in was one of the big bag phones. It looked like I was calling you in an airstrike.
Well, this one, if you want to use it on a car power, you can actually take this battery off and slide another deal on. It's got a cigarette lighter plug.
Oh, yeah.
And look, hey, the charger only weighs 15 pounds. Here's the charger.
And-
see, you just set that phone in there.
I had a Motorola flip phone, Tom.
Yeah.
It had the big orange display on it, and it was a big monster green thing. And I carried that to the mall once, 2 years ago, and I flipped it open and pretended I was using it to make a call. And I got some very strange stares by people walking by that gigantic phone.
But the scary thing, Tom, is that phone was once the envy of everybody.
It was. In fact, I actually had a car kit on the hump of the car there, where this phone actually clipped down in it, and it went into it had an amplifier and speakers and an outside antenna. So
Exactly.
You clip that down in there. But this is a Motorola. This was a Motorola phone, and hey, it was a good phone back then. But I mean, we're talking like 1980s.
Mm-hmm. But I mean, that if you had one of those, that was a status symbol back then.
Yeah. Well, we usually dressed at work in suits a lot of times, and I always had this phone with me. And if I or my friend Ed would go in, like to an auto parts with us, the guy would say, "The police are here." And I don't know why they'd think that, but I guess because I had a phone. Most people back here didn't have a phone, Okay, well, hey, let's jump over and let's talk DB a little bit, and DB and whatever else. So, Alan, why don't you go ahead and pick it up?
I am here. So I said you got to give me the ability to share.
Yeah.
And maybe if you don't mind, indulge me a little bit. I want to do a little bit of a plug for an event that I'm involved
Go right
with here in
ahead.
about 2.5 weeks. Involved in the Trenton Computer Festival. Anybody in the tri-state area will know about this. It's been around for over 50 years. And let me do a quick share of that screen here first. And this is the Trenton Computer Festival. Unfortunately, it was canceled last year because of COVID. This year is going all virtual. And it really has a lot of, kind of mainly computer and hobbyist topics. And there's always a flea market there as well. It's kind of as big as some of the Hamfest here in New Jersey. But there's 10 different technology tracks. This is all free. It's all via Zoom. You just go and sign up at tcf-nj.org. But there's all track on talks on artificial intelligence, some on innovation, information technology with PCs, social media and apps, history and technology, education and STEM, technology and robotics, Microsoft and Unix, software development, and object-oriented programming. So that's all the 10 technology tracks. There's about 50 different talks that are going on. There's a keynote speaker on artificial intelligence. And then in parallel with all that, the reason my involvement is I'm running a ham cram. So as a several hour technician class review session to kind of review all of the technician class materials. Certainly not enough time to teach it all, but certainly enough time to review it all, then followed by some virtual tests. So if you have some friends that have been thinking about getting their license and have been doing some studying and things like that and are ready to kind of review all the material, you can certainly send them over to this. There is pre-registration required if you are going to take a test through the HamCram. And if you go down to the program book, there's a link in that program book of where you will have to send an email to pre-register for the VE exam. But if you just want to go to the cram, you're more than welcome to come and sit in on that. It's going to run from about 9 in the morning Eastern time till 2 p.m. Eastern time. So a pretty long review session, but we go over basically all the information that you would have already studied, but to go through it in a way that in case you have any questions or something's not clear, we go ahead and do that. But anyway, this is something I'm involved with. This it looks like it's 2 weeks from Saturday on March 20th. So
cool.
So yeah, it's a little bit of a plug for that. So anyway, what I really want to do is we're here to talk a bit about, I thought a fun topic would be to talk about dBs, the decibel, okay, what it is, and dB and dBm and dBc and all of that stuff. So really, what is a dB or a decibel? And a dB or a decibel is essentially, it's a ratio of two power levels expressed as a logarithm. And there's some advantages in doing this. And the basic formula is kind of shown here. It's basically you've got a ratio, power P1 with respect to P2 or P1 to P2, just that ratio. And we take the log base 10 of that multiplied by 10, and that's what gives us a dB. But it's really a ratio. It's kind of the same way as saying that something is twice as big as something else, or is half as big as something else, or 10 times as big as something else. It's not an absolute number. It's a ratio. Okay, but we can play some games to make it an absolute. We'll talk about that. So here's a couple of examples. For example, if P1 and P2 are both, say, 1 watt, for example, then the ratio is 1, and that is 0 dB. If you've got a 2-to-1 ratio, like maybe 2 milliwatts to 1 milliwatt, 2 microwatts to 1 microwatt, a 2-to-1 ratio is a 3 dB measurement. 10-to-1 is 10 dB. And then if you invert that, like if you have a ratio of a half, okay, like something is half the size of something else, that's minus 3 dB. All right, and then 100 to 1 would be 20, 1,000 to 1 would be 30. And one thing you'll notice from this, ranging from say a ratio of a half to a ratio of 1,000, there's some reasonable numbers here. So using dB, one of the advantages is it gives you the ability to look at a large range of different ratios on a reasonable scale or within a reasonable range. And this is why things like decibels are used for things like S meter readings or power readings inside of a spectrum analyzer or on a waterfall display on your radio. Typically express the power ratios or the levels in a logarithmic fashion using dB, because it allows you to look at very strong and very weak values or ratios on a reasonable scale without having something be 1,000 times larger than the other on a screen. So that's the reason we use dBs. Okay, but again, because a dB is a ratio, it is correct to say that, hey, okay, this signal is 3 dB higher than that one, right? That's a ratio. That's like saying it's twice as big, or saying this amplifier has 12 dB of gain, right? That's a valid thing to say. Or say this mixer's conversion gain is minus 7 dB. Now, a gain that's negative meaning it's actually a loss. That's another way to think about it. So again, a dB is a ratio, so it's perfectly valid to say all of these things here about a dB. It's not correct to say that, oh, this signal level is 3 dB. That 3 dB by itself is not an absolute value, so it doesn't tell you anything about that. You could say it's 3 dB higher or lower than something else, but not just 3 dB. Or you could say, hey, the power output of my amp is 38 dB. That doesn't make sense either, right? dB will respond, could describe the gain of the amplifier, but not the absolute output, okay? Or hey, my audio amplitude is minus 21 dB. Again, that doesn't necessarily mean anything. And you might say, well, if you look at like an audio pressure meter, for an audio level, that's calibrated in dB, but it really is calibrated in dB with respect to a kind of a calibrated, what's called a sound pressure level. Okay, so again, a dB is not an absolute quantity, all right? However, we can use dBs to express an absolute quantity, okay? And we do that by specifying what we call a reference value, okay? If we take that P2, whatever we're gonna, kind of reference our measurement to, we can, and specify a reference, we can now make a dB give us an absolute value. And it's that suffix that follows the dB that implies what that reference is, okay? So if you see something that says dBm, okay, like this here, dBm is implying that the reference, or P2 in that formula, is a milliwatt. Okay, so really what dBm means, it's decibels relative to a milliwatt. So if we say a signal level is 0 dBm, that means that's a 1-to-1 ratio to a milliwatt, which means it's a milliwatt. Okay, 10 dBm would be a 10 milliwatt signal. 20 dBm would be a 100 milliwatt signal. Okay, it's decibels relative to a milliwatt. A mu following dB means that the reference is a microwatt. Okay, same deal, except that it's a reference to a microwatt instead. So 0 dBm is the same thing as plus 30 dBu. All right. If you see something that says dBmV, dBmV means that's decibels relative to a millivolt, and almost always that means millivolts in RMS. Okay, so a dBmV is an absolute value because it's decibels relative to a millivolt, so many times larger or smaller than a millivolt. Okay, so that suffix can turn essentially our dB into an absolute value instead of a ratio. Right, so for power ratio, and as I mentioned at the beginning, dB is always essentially a ratio of power levels, P1 to P2, right? P2 could be some kind of a relative, an implied reference, but with the suffix, or it's just a simple ratio, but it's always with respect to power. So when we're calculating dB for voltage ratios, the formula changes a little bit because we use 20 times log instead of 10 times log. And the reason for that is because power is proportional to voltage squared. So if I have say voltage V1 squared divided by some resistance and V2 squared divided by some resistance, that's essentially that power ratio. The resistances cancel, assuming the impedance is constant. That's typically what we're doing here. But since we have a squared term here, when you do a logarithm of something that's got an exponent, the exponent comes out and multiplies out here. So that squared term comes out and multiplies against the 10 and makes it 20. So if you're calculating the ratio using voltages, you do a 20 times log. If you're calculating the ratio using power, you do a 10 times log. Okay. So, and the other interesting thing about decibels is it turns multiplication and division calculations into addition and subtraction calculations. Okay, it's one of the reasons we use logarithms in the first place, back before calculators and things like that. And it's one of the principles that slide rules were based on. So let's say, for example, I've got a 50 microvolt signal. Some people might recognize that 50 microvolts is typically an S9 signal on the radio. Let's say I put that through an amplifier that has a gain of 25, voltage gain of 25. So in order to calculate that amplitude, I have to multiply that 50 microvolts times 25 to get 1.25 millivolts. All right. If we express things in decibels, like 50 microvolts is minus 73 dBm. Okay. The exercise left to the reader here to go calculate, but that's really what it is. And that 25x voltage gain is 28 dB of gain. And the output could then be calculated by a simple addition, taking minus 73 dBm plus 28 dB gives me minus 45 dBm output power. Okay, so we've turned this multiplication problem into an addition problem. And this is handy, probably more so when we start thinking about, from an RF standpoint, antenna gain or propagation loss and things like that. These things are typically specified in dB. So if you know what your output power is in dBm or something like that, you can simply just add or subtract things like antenna gain and the path loss through the atmosphere or something like that to figure out what the power is at the far end and that type of thing. So it's pretty common in the RF world. Okay. So again, the suffix finally can also be other things besides a microwatt or a milliwatt or something like that. In RF, oftentimes you see the term dBc. What dBc means that it's decibels relative to a carrier level. And that carrier level could be anything. But when we want to look at how big something is with respect to our carrier level, this is important if you're doing some homebrew things. You may want to look at the harmonic distortion, for example, of your transmitter. Okay, and there may be a spec that says, hey, I want the second and third harmonics to be at least 45 dB lower than my output power. So another way to say that is that I want those harmonic components to be, lower than 45 dBc or minus 45 dBc, right? 45 dB down below my carrier level, whatever it happens to be, whether it's a milliwatt or a watt or whatever. You just want the relative amplitude of those harmonic distortion components to be, say, more than 45 or 50 dB down. So the way to refer to that is dBc. And if you look at antennas, oftentimes you'll see the terms dBi or dBd. And this is essentially a measure of the antenna gain relative to a different type of antenna. A dBi is decibels relative to something called an isotropic antenna, which is really a fictional antenna, which is essentially a point source in space that radiates power equally in all directions. So in effect, it's kind of like, the gain of something that has absolutely no gain, right? So it's gain over an isotropic or just a uniform emitting surface or uniform emitting point. And more commonly, you might see dBd, which is decibels relative to a dipole, right? So how many dB higher in gain is this antenna with respect to what I would get out of a dipole? Okay, so that's the dBd number. A dipole is, for example, about, I think it's 2.31 dBi. Okay, so you get about 2.3 dB gain on the side lobes of a dipole relative to a point source that radiates equally in all directions. So again, just a brief introduction to dBs. I thought I'd just kind of do here. I did a video on this. Oh, let me see. It was video number 136 on my YouTube channel, where I talk about the same topic here and give some examples with a spectrum analyzer and things like that to kind of show it in practice. But I thought, just a little introduction to dBs. If anybody wants a copy of this PDF file, just shoot me an email at w2aew@arrl.net, and I'll email you a copy of this PDF file here that I threw together. But anyway, that's what I had. Just thought it might be an interesting topic for folks, and something that's often misunderstood.
All right. Any questions in the chat room? I tried to follow, but it was interesting. And playing around antennas, you never know. You see the term dBi and the dBd, and what's it mean? I think you explained it very well tonight, Alan.
All right.
All right, let me make a quick announcement here real quick. Anybody out there listening on shortwave, WBCQ 7490, this is Amateur Radio Roundtable, a show about ham radio. Love to hear from you. Send us an email to tom@w5kub.com and let us know where you are in the world and how you're hearing the station. Monticello, WBCQ at Monticello is up on the very tip of Maine, right on the Canadian border, so it's way up there. If we've got anybody just joined us, let me ask again, please hit the subscribe button. We really need you to hit the subscribe button, and that helps us out a lot on our show if you'll do that. Hey, let me show you something, Alan, that I got in the mail today. I just want to mention this. I can't really test it right now, but it's kind of interesting. Our friend James Hannibal, KH2SR, he's donated some prizes on our show before. The little keychain QRP HF transmitter. It's a little transmitter about the size of a sugar cube. You can actually make contacts with it. He sent me a Morse code key to play with. And this key, actually, it straps around your finger. I don't know if you can see that or not. Let's see. So let me twist it here if I can, and I'll show you how this key is supposed to work. Maybe before next week or something, I can actually put it on plug it into the radio and get a little side tone there. But so here's your CW key. It's a little push button with Velcro in it, and I don't know. Somehow you open this thing up and you get it on your finger, and I guess you could be driving or whatever, and it's a push button.
I
Now,
wish I had that years ago when I was
Yeah.
driving back and forth from Ohio to California for college. I would operate 20-meter CW mobile by strapping a J38
to your
World War
leg.
II
Yeah.
key, brake key to my knee, but that would have been much handier.
Now, maybe, you know what? Maybe you put it on your thumb. I guess there's different ways you could do this. You probably strap this on your thumb. That might be the easiest way. I'm having a little trouble with the Velcro here. Okay, let me try this. Let me put it on my thumb. This may work better. Yeah, this may work better. I've got it on my thumb now, and I can use my finger to send with. Maybe that's the preferred way to do it. So, I don't think you're going to be like real fast with this thing. It's it's got a little bit of a delay action in it. So here's CQ.
Still, it beats the J38 strapped to your knee.
Yeah, here I'm gonna send CQ with it. Let's do it. Let's see. Here we go. Here we go. Probably couldn't make it out, but anyway, there it is, guys. Look at that, man.
It's actually pretty cool.
Yeah. I'll try to put it on a code practice oscillator where we can kind of listen to the fist, and how it sounds. I think it'd take a little practice.
Hey, Tom, I missed it. Where did you get that?
James Hannibal, KH2SR, he sells the little keychain QRP HF transmitters, little cube. It hangs on your keychain. You can get them for different bands, 20 meters, 40 meters. And we've given away some on our show here as prizes. I think this is one of the, this may be probably the key that you can plug into that. So yeah, you can have it on your keychain. You have that plugged into your radio on your keychain. You can have your hands on your steering wheel there, and be sending code while you're driving down the road. Look at that. That's kind of cool. All right, thanks James for sending that. We'll try to put it on a code practice oscillator. All right. Was there any other questions for Alan there? People know how to get in touch with you, Alan, and hey, check his YouTube channel out, and also just remember, if you need to, you can go back and watch this video again later. It'll be posted tonight, after the show, and you can watch it over and over again. So, guys, this morning, Ed and I, we built the balloon for our launch. Here's the material. Got this from Fluffy. She sent me a lot of this material. I think Fluffy's wanting to see what we can do with it. So this is white on the outside. The inside is silver. And the inside is the only side that you can heat seal. You gotta do the silver to the silver, basically. You can't stick the white to white. It won't stick with heat. It's 1 mil thick. I guess that's what, 1/1000th of an inch. And actually, the material's it's pretty strong, actually. But if you ever do get a little rip in it, it's gonna rip, just like your windshield. You get that little nick and that little thing goes zzz, like that. Well, this is gonna do the same thing. We don't know if the integrity of the material itself. This was folded and put in a UPS box, so it was folded, so it had creases at various places in the fold. And when I first took it out, some of the places where we had creases, it looked like holes in it. But we looked at it under the microscope, it appears that the film is still there. It's just that the white paint or the white coloring has come off. So we don't know if we have any holes in it or not. We built a 9-foot balloon. Our SBS balloons we've been flying they limit us to about 43,000, 44, 45,000 maybe max. And so we're wanting to try to build something bigger. So our test balloon that we're going to try to launch maybe as early as Thursday. I've got a video here of us building it this morning out of this. And an SBS balloon is 7.5 feet. This one is right at 9 feet. An SBS, when laid flat, an SBS is 36 inches wide, where this one's 42.5 inches wide. So there's a little bit more volume in here. And when you do the calculations, actually, the calculations I got was the SBS was about 0.6 cubic meters, and this one is just a little under 1 cubic meter. So it has a little bit more gas. Now, I started looking at I was going to build like a 15-foot balloon. In other words, I was going to take a 30-foot piece of this, fold it back, make a 15-foot balloon. But I started using the spreadsheet, the float calculator, Bill, and a 15-foot balloon of this only get me about 1,000 foot higher than a 9-foot will, according to that calculator. So I don't know if it's because of the extra weight and because it's a cylinder, but so we decided to just go smaller. We went with a 9-foot balloon, and we built that today. And I've got a little bit of a video here I'm gonna put on and let you see it. I'll try to fast forward through the video, but let you kind of see our process on how we built this balloon. So let me bring it up here, and Bill, we can talk. While this is running here. I've got it set up where our mics are still working. Well, here we go. Okay, guys, hey, we're gonna work on our experimental balloon. We're trying to get a balloon bigger than the SBS and maybe try to get some altitude. This is the best material we've been able to find. This came from Fluffy's, and this is a film, a 1 mil thick film. That's 1/1000th of an inch. It's gonna be white on the outside, and it's silver on the inside. It's pretty strong stuff, actually. But we don't know if there's any little imperfections or holes in it. I guess we'll know have to put some hydrogen in it. We're going to try to do that in a few minutes. So our plan is, we're going to take a 20-foot piece like this. We're going to take a 20-foot piece, and we're going to fold it back this way, like this. And then we're going to heat seal down both sides like this, and at the corners, just to try to get a good heat seal, and then we'll seal across the bottom. On this material, you can't heat sink the white side. You can only heat sink the silver together. So we're going to lay it out here, and we're going to get the heating iron going, and we're going to try to make a balloon. We're inspecting it. We see little imperfections in the places. We think it's the white coating that's coming off. I inspected it under a microscope. It looks like the film is still there. So this is going to be a big risk. Ed, the gas man, as well as Ed is the one that makes these things fly. Okay, Ed, let's roll this out, and somehow we're going to have to find a midpoint. Let's see. About how much are we hanging over, Ed?
About a foot.
Let's go about 2 foot. All right, right there. All right. Okay, so I'm going to lay this here, and we're going to try this to go back and see. We're going to go back. Kathy, can you maybe come around this way and get a little better picture of this? Maybe around the side. Yeah. This stuff is really thin. The whole thing sliding over. Go ahead. I'll pull it back this way. We may be almost long enough here to do this. Fast. I think we're going to be long enough on our table here to do this. We'll just kind of go through this a lot more fast. So we're putting the edges together, And we've got our parchment paper so we don't melt the balloon, but we're going to heat it here. We're going to lay our heating iron on top of the parchment paper and run a bead through here. So I'm going to put that here. Put that there. And then we're going to use this board, I think, for a guide. And hopefully it didn't have any splinters in it, but let's put it on the side over here, Ed, like this. Yeah, there we go. So we've got our balloon doubled here. This means we're going to put the two sides together here. We've laid our parchment paper on there, and we've got a board here, and we're going to use that board to help us take the hot iron and go down the side there.
What was that?
All right, looks good. All right, are we ready for this, guys? Maybe I should give this to Ed. Okay, here we go. We're going to try to seal this thing. Here we go. Now, when I get to here, I'm going to have to stop, and we're going to have to, I guess, slide the balloon down so we can get the bottom in there. Okay, here we go.
Stop at the end of the wax.
Here we go. This is a critical part. I'm nervous. Here we go. You don't know exactly what speed to go. And I'm wondering, as the heat moves into the balloon, if we're losing heat in the iron and it's going to get cold on me. Yet I think I'm holding the end down okay on this end.
That's enough. That's enough.
No?
No wax paper. No paper.
Thank you. Okay. That was cheese. What do we got, Ed?
Well, about.
So there, in addition to the flat seal, I turned the iron on its side to run a little bit deeper bead down through there, hoping that, you know, if we didn't get a good seal, maybe this will be a backup seal. But we turn it over. Overall, I'm looking like it's sealed. On the corner here, just because we might have not got the little very top where we folded it, we put a heat at an angle across here to try to seal that top piece there. Of course, this piece here is solid. It's just a folded over piece. Hey, I might take an iron and just do a little spot, a couple, you know, like every foot. This is the second side. We flipped it over now. Let's just put a little spot, like spot weld it.
Yeah.
We flipped it over. A foot there, find me a place to get it exactly how you want it, and we'll put a little spot there. And what we're going to do is just kind of spot weld it, you know, about every foot, and then we'll come back and seal it. All right, here we go. Here we go. So we've decided to put a little spot weld about every foot because this side is a little bit more difficult lining up. Is there any white sticking, clear? I don't see it.
Well, there's no clear on this one here, the bottom one.
Yeah, there is. I think there is. It's just that you can't see it. Maybe not.
No, it's none.
Okay.
Hold that and let's get this straight. All right, spot me.
Let's get up. All right, so on this edge, we don't have any clear at all on either side, right? Okay. All right.
Just spot it. Okay. Now we're getting a little bit of clear.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, after we've spotted it and we've got it all lined up, we're going to go down it. We're doing about a 5/8 inch wide seal. We could probably get by with less, but we're doing about 5/8 of an inch there.
The SBS is 7.5 feet tall. This one. All right, hold the board and we will do a bead down it. All right, so we've sealed both sides. We've turned it around where we can get the end now. You know, our top end was just folded, so we didn't have to do a seam there. Now we're going to seal the bottom across here. I think what the plan is going to be is to seal it all the way across, except maybe for a couple inches. We'll leave that open. That's where we're going to put the gas in. Once we put the gas in, we'll try to measure the lift that we need and put that amount in. This probably will change over a day or two. But we'll try to put the gas in a little 2-inch hole, and then we'll seal that hole off. Now we're just gonna let it sit for a while and see if the gas stays in it. If we need to put more gas in it, what we'll do, we will take scissors and we'll cut a corner off again, giving us another little 1 or 2 inch hole right there. Put some more gas in it and we'll seal it again. All right, so ready to cut off.
All right, we've sealed the bottom, and now we're going to cut off a little excess there because the bottom wasn't even.
That's good.
Put that hole down here.
Okay. Okay, so here's the excess we cut off. We're going to just weigh it, see, kind of see how much weight we took off the balloon. You'd think it might be insignificant, but who knows? If it's a couple grams, that's 600 feet. So here we go. Wow, we took off almost 7 grams, Ed.
Oh.
That's about. Hey, that's about.
That's a tracker.
3 right here, just to hold it together. That way, when we inflate it, fold this in half. Fold it in half. This we cut off. We're going to just weigh it, see. Fold this in half. Fold it in half, and then inflate it with a small amount of hydrogen, just so it will start lifting. And that way, it won't be hitting the ceiling. We just want it even folded in half. If we get enough gas in it, it'll lift its weight. All right, so let's put very little
On the
tape.
edges.
Very little tape.
Let's do it on the
Reinforce it, some very strong tape. We're going to punch a hole in it. Let me go back up right here.
right here. The string.
So we're going to fasten a string on the corner. Okay, so we have our balloon sealed on all sides and bottom. We did a big triangle seal here on the corner. And I just put a piece of tape right here to help reinforce it, some very strong tape. We're going to punch a hole in it here. And this will be where we tie our tracker string right here. So that should be pretty solid right there. We've got it folded in half. We're going to take it outside now. We're going to start putting some hydrogen gas in it. We're getting a little hydrogen in here. Our tracker's a little heavy. It's at 18.13. And we're going to put 7 grams of free lift in here. So, and we need 25.13 grams of lift. 25.13. So we're getting a little hydrogen in here. Let's see how it's going. When you start getting close, every little quick spurt of hydrogen is almost 1 gram of lift. So we found that if we fill the balloon up where it just lifts itself, then you're getting very close. Now this balloon is heavier, of course, than the SBS. The SBS balloon is about 109 grams. And this one's 173 grams, but it's larger. It's wider and taller. The SBS holds Now back to the show. We always have a few critters.
The volume for the SBS is 0.5 cubic meters. The volume of this balloon is 1 cubic meter.
Is it staying up or are you helping it?
Oh, I'm helping you a little, but it's getting close. This
We're
balloon has
almost-
been built,
we're almost at the end of the video
specifically
here.
for putting hydrogen in balloons, so we're getting close here. We spent countless dollars on all the ventilation systems here and the temperature and everything. We're back around again.
Yeah. No.
Getting close, Ed.
I might get your scale.
All right, we're gonna put our scales on it.
Oh,
It's
yeah,
not-
I got enough.
It's not lifting itself yet, is it?
Yeah, it is.
Oh, it is? Okay. So we needed, we're shooting far and we're playing in the dark here. 18.13 tracker, 7 grams free lift is 25.13. So we're gonna see,
Down your end.
oh yeah, we're gonna see if we can get 25. We want to put 25.3 grams of lift in here.
I think we about got it. What do we do?
So let's see, let me, oh yeah, it's got some lift to it. All right, the scale is zeroed. We're gonna hook it on here. Whoa, Ed, we got, we're at 20 point, we're at about 21 grams of lift.
You need 4 more?
And we need, yeah, 25.13.
Oh, here we go.
This is where Ed kind of goes
Did that
crazy.
show up okay? Good. See what we got, Ed?
We need 25.
Ed, you put too much in. A lot too much. Well, let's just wait and see what we got. We're at 33, Ed.
No way.
Yeah, we're,
No way.
we're at 33.
33.
I told you, don't you remember?
I just got
One
into the
squirt,
short
don't you
burst,
remember?
yeah,
One
yeah.
squirt is 1 gram of lift.
All right.
We're at, all right, look, we have no idea the capability of this balloon. We could try to fly it with 10 grams of lift. I mean, you know, we just don't know. Because we're actually testing the leak from these seams from here up, right there.
That balloon is folded double now just
All right,
to keep
well,
it from hitting the ceiling.
Guys, we have a balloon. We have the, what are we gonna call this? The KUB-1, that's our balloon. We've been flying the SBS-13s, but this is a KUB-1. I can tell you now, we don't have a lot of confidence it's gonna stay up, but you never know until you launch it.
All right, so Bill Brown, our expert. That was our first make of a balloon, Bill.
Well, I'm impressed that you
Shouldn't
got
the way you
gas in.
charge your device be just as good as the device itself?
Oh, wait a minute.
I mean,
Wait a
don't you think the chargers today are pretty...
Let me stop. There we go. That was our first attempt, Bill.
My voice sounded funny there for a minute.
It did. It did. So,
Very impressive that it, have you measured the lift after it has sat there for an hour or two to see if it's getting any leaking?
we did that at about 9 o'clock this morning. As of tonight, it's still the same same lift.
That's pretty good. That shows you that they don't. Now you're going to get some leakage at room temperature,
Yeah.
but as it gets colder, it won't leak near as much when you're at altitude.
Well, I need to also, well, right now we've got that balloon folded in half just because it's 9 feet tall.
Yeah.
So the hydrogen is kind of in the center of that balloon where it's folded. So probably tomorrow I'm going to open that balloon up where the hydrogen will go up into the top of the balloon and see if we have any leaks up there, Glenn asked the question, how does the weight compare? We've just not been able to get our hands on any of the material like the SBS balloon has. The SBS weighs 109 grams, and it's 7.5 feet by, laying flat, it's 36 inches wide. So 7.5 feet, it weighs 109 grams. This one is about 9 feet tall, and it's 42 and a half inches wide, which is of course wider, and it weighs in at 173. So a little bit more weight, 173, but it's a little bit larger. You know, it's
Yeah, you need to break
20%.
that
You know,
down to volume.
it's 20% larger probably than an SBS. So 20% of 109 would be what, about 20. So 20 and
Yeah.
130.
But
We're a
it
little
weighs
heavy.
a little bit more.
We're a little heavy, yeah. And I think but this is the lightest material we've been able to find. You know, I've looked at garbage bags, and I've gone to Lowe's and Home Depot, and they're clear plastic. That stuff is, even their 1 mil stuff is heavy.
Yeah, and they're going to have pinholes in it too. This is a multi-layer plastic, so it's going to be much better at keeping, preventing leaks.
And this is a truly experimental launch we got coming up. We have no idea if it's going to stay up 4 hours, 1 day, 2 days. We don't know. And Bill, here's our problem. It's there's nobody to tell us what amount of free lift might work in that balloon that I know of. I mean, we're kind of looking at the SBS at 8 grams. I mean,
I would probably go with about 8 grams for your first test flight. Now, a question.
Yeah.
What is your call sign going to be on the next flight? And 20-meter whisper, I assume.
Well, hey, I got my programmer in today, and I plugged it in. I was having trouble with the ICT tracker I built for this flight. It seems like every time the voltage got below 3.3, it just quit, and then it had to reset. So I'm gonna take that tracker off. I've got another tracker that's built. I was able to program it tonight, first shot. So we'll probably swap that out. I was gonna go with the QRP tracker, which is whisper, but only 4-digit grid square, and APRS. APRS would be nice every minute or so, because if this thing only goes up 3 hours and starts coming back down in 4 hours, it'd be nice to watch the altitude on the APRS. But I think we're going to go back to our homebrew ICT tracker. We'll get a reading every 10 minutes, and it'll be more accurate. And at least over the ocean, we'll have accurate altitude, whereas if we were just using the whisper, we wouldn't have altitude. So, in this flight is so dangerous, guys. Let me tell you, this flight is so dangerous. We are not sending the ants up on this flight. This flight will be
unmanned.
Unant. It would be an unant flight, because this thing could come down hours after it goes up.
We did find a couple of really brave fleas, though.
I don't know if the seams are going to hold. I don't know what it's going to do. But Bill, with the spreadsheet, the float spreadsheet,
I'll be downrange in Alabama, ready to catch it.
So with the float spreadsheet, it says it came in somewhere around 47,000, 47.5.
That actually is about what I was thinking you'd probably be able to achieve.
Yeah. So, and the SBS came out, I kind of plugged the same tracker weights and stuff in, and the SBS came in like 43 or 44. So we might get a little bit more. At least this is going to be homemade. Plus, I think if I go back to the original tracker, we're going to have less weight. This tracker, the QRP tracker with the solar panels and the antennas, is going to weigh in at 18. I think the ICT tracker with the panels and styrofoam and everything is going to come in at maybe even 13. So 5 grams lighter. I looked at I did the math on the spreadsheet, and Bill, tonight I looked at it. It looked like every 1 gram, I lost 92 feet every 1 gram if I was reading that right. I'd do 15 grams, and I'd do 14 grams and 13 grams, and I was looking at the altitude, and it was just about 100 feet per gram. It wasn't much, but I'm a novice at this. So anyway, I don't know if it's going to rip apart. I don't know if it's
It'll be more than that per gram, but I'll work it out for you.
okay. Okay. So
This
I
is-
don't know.
this is
I don't know if it seems.
W5, right?
What was that?
W5 KUB-25
This will
on
be
this
yeah.
one?
W5 KUB 25, and it'll be just like we've been flying. You know, we'll get the accurate whisper to APRS translation there. Bill, I don't know if it's going to. I'm sure it's going to expand to where it gets full. I guess that's your super pressure, right? It's going to get tight. Now, will those seams hold it, or will it tear it apart? I don't know. I don't know. That's why we're not sending any ants up. So I don't know, man.
I've got a couple of really brave fleas over here that we
Do
could
you?
set in their
Well,
place.
That we could probably handle a flea or two for weight, you know. Yeah. Well, anyway, it's going to be exciting. We're gonna wait probably. Bill, I'm just going to keep it gassed up out there, and it looks like Thursday morning, so it'll have to go all day tomorrow, and then Thursday morning we'll take it out. I'll see how much.
Check the lift on it over the next day or two, every 12 hours, and make note of it. I'd like to see just how much it leaks between now and Thursday.
Yeah, and you know, if we need to put more gas in it, I mean, of course, if we just had a hole in it, we lost all of our gas pretty quick. It wouldn't be worth flying. But if it's real small, you know, we don't lose much. We need to lose a little because we got 15 grams of lift in there right now. We got to lose some, or we're going to have to squeeze it out. You know.
Yeah, that's the hard part.
Well, we just turn it upside down, and it'll come out. You know. But
the other thing you could do is put, if it's not too much overweight, you can put some small weights to the.
Yeah, I told Ed we could add some weight to it. We could add some weight to it to where, you know, but we'd have to add 7 more grams of weight. Or no, we'd have to add 8 more grams of weight to it.
Yeah, that's a lot.
And you know, I don't know, that could be, you know, maybe a couple thousand feet. I don't know.
But just to recap, you'll be on 20-meter whisper.
Yep.
Every 10 minutes, it'll be W5 KUB by itself on whisper. At the 2-minute mark and at the 4-minute mark, it will be a call sign that begins with a Q and has a 7 in it. Mm-hmm. That's basically your whisper channel number that has the telemetry embedded in it. And this will repeat every 10 minutes. And then we have a Python program that grabs that data, decodes the telemetry, and then converts it to an APRS format and sends it directly to the APRS server. So it shows up on the APRS FI map and tracker.habhub.org as an APRS object, even though it came from Whisper.
You know, when I was going to fly the QRP tracker as backup, I was going to use the simple Python script that you did that converts the Whisper 4-digit to APRS. And of course, we know that doesn't give altitude, but I saw you had this little secret number in there to set the altitude, and I did a little test in here. I set the altitude at 59,600 feet.
I saw that.
Yeah, did you see that? We were flying at 59,000. I was going to try
to. I did that.
Yeah, I was going to let the people kind of follow it here. I was going to every hour I was going to bump it up a little bit. You know, 62,000, 68,000. You know. Oh man. Oh well.
Well, somebody recommended instead of sky ants that you send up some butterflies, so that if there is some leakage, they can compensate.
Yeah, I guess we could do that too. Yeah, let's see.
Well, this is something I didn't know. I didn't know that a U.S. dollar bill weighs exactly a gram.
Didn't know that.
A penny weighs 2.5 grams, a nickel is 5 grams, but I did not know that the dollar bill itself is a gram. So there you go. You can stick a dollar bill on there if you have.
I could cram a bunch of dollar bills in there, yeah. Well, you know, hey, when you launch one of these flights, Bill, and I tell people
It's like launching money.
hey, I tell people all the time, they say, oh, I want to do that, I want to do that. And I say, okay, here's what you got to do. If you want to fly balloons, you got to be consistent. It's going to take you 9 times to get around the Earth. And what you have to be prepared to is fill that balloon up, tie $300 on it, and turn it loose. You got to be
prepared for an actual flight.
You got to be prepared to do that, and you got to be prepared to do it 9 times, and you'll make it around the world, man. You know.
We just had the university here, University of Alabama, Huntsville. They sent up 3 balloons so far with the SBS-13 and my Whisper Sky Trackers. One of them developed a leak over Atlanta and landed in a tree near Macon, Georgia on the first day of flight and transmitted there for a day or two. We know roughly where it is within a 2 by 3 mile box. The second balloon went around the world 2.7 times, and it was just poised it's basically 2 days away from completing its 3rd lap. It's been aloft for 33 days, and it hit a storm off the coast of southwest of San Diego and came down. So you just never know.
You don't know, but of course we
cloud
don't.
tops weren't particularly high, but it iced up.
And I'm not brave like you. I don't put my email address on it when it comes down.
Well, we flew over North Korea.
Yeah.
With that.
Yeah. You know, typically mine usually come down over a Russian airbase, usually.
And the geofencing worked beautifully.
Yeah.
The prediction showed it waking up over during daytime, traveling right across North Korea. And I drew a box around North Korea to show where my geofence is. And as soon as it passed by that box, it started transmitting just off the coast. Mm. So the geofence worked. I have real world example of that.
Well, that's great. Our closest flight to North Korea, it looked like it was going to touch the tip of North Korea, and it went probably 10 miles on the other side of the border. It went right at the same angle as the border, and so far we have never crossed into North Korea, but we've flown over South Korea before, and in 1972 I spent a year in South Korea. And I couldn't even imagine back then that 45 years later, I'd be flying a balloon right over the place where I'm standing, you know.
Right.
Well, I mean, back then we didn't have APRS. We didn't have Whisper. I mean, we didn't have anything like that, you know.
You had teletype.
We did. Yeah, we did.
And it's hard to fly a Model 19
That's
on a
right.
balloon.
I was going to say, I don't think the string would hold it.
Well, you could put, it'd take a lot of gas, but you could put, a tape reader on there and put the tape in a loop, and just let it run. Ting, 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 ting. But I don't know how you'd power that thing either, man. Hey, look, we got 2 minutes till our shortwave show ends. Everybody on Zoom, stand by a minute, and we'll talk after the show for a second. Hey, if you're out there and listening on International Shortwave, WBCQ, we're glad you're with us tonight. This show is about ham radio, amateur radio. And I'm Tom, W5KUB, and we've talked about a lot of fun and interesting things tonight. If you're interested in ham radio, join our Facebook group. Our Facebook group is called W5KUB, and we've got over 12,000 hams in that group now, and it's a good place to get a lot of information, and it also follows our live show. We'd love to have you. Send us an email, to tom@w5kub.com. Let us know where you are. And everybody else out there, if you have not hit that subscribe button yet, please hit that subscribe button, because 40% of you guys hadn't hit the subscribe button. I'm gonna see if I can't get your names, and I'm gonna put a little chart up on the wall and put silver stars and gold stars by everybody that has. So if you want a gold star, hit the subscribe button. Good night, everybody on Shortwave. Thank you for joining us tonight. All right, well, I think we'll end the video show right about now. And guys in the chat room, thanks so much. Hey, real quick, anybody left in the chat room that's new to us tonight, this is your first time. I know we had some first timers at the beginning of the show. The statistics tonight showed that we had, the statistics tonight show that we had 1,165 people come and go to the show tonight, it looks like. And we're running about, we've run well over 100 people concurrently, just the whole show. We were running about 180 people concurrent during the middle of the show, especially during Alan's piece. Alan always draws a big crowd there. So anyway, I think we're doing good. Thanks to everybody. 73, good night to everybody. See you next week.